I tried beating Terraria, but my HP is equal to the amount of money I have, meaning the richer we are, the more life we get. Will I be able to become rich enough to defeat the octopus space monster? Well, let's find out. I started off with literally only 50 HP, which was the equivalent of 5 silver and 50 copper. I went right into chopping down trees and tried to up my money as fast as possible. I got myself 1 gold coin, which put me at an astonishing 163 health. I thought I was balling until I took some damage and lost all of my HP. From what I've realized, it works something along the lines of this. You have your coins, which equal to your HP, but every time you take damage, you end up losing the coins, which inevitably means you lose all of your money when you die. I tried to make my way through the corruption, but I ended up dying. The next thing I did is start to build myself a elevator and then try to make NPC houses. I got myself a furnace, an anvil, and then built myself a ton of NPC prisons. I spent the rest of my days trying to make a elevator, and upon taking fall damage, I lost all of my HP, lost all of my coins, and I ended up dying. The next few couple of days were spent on exploring the world. I went over to the sand biome and got myself a magic carpet from a pyramid. I then got myself some life crystals, and essentially what life crystals did is permanently upped our HP by 2, which wasn't that much, but over the span of the entire game, it ended up giving us 100 total HP. But right now, we only have 58. I spent most of the early game just dying nonstop. There was absolutely nothing that was going my way, and I felt so hopeless. It took us forever to make progress, but I do assure you, we did slowly make progress. My main goal was to essentially get meteorite armor, because defense is going to be our best friend. I spent loads of time mining, got myself more life crystals, and then I went into the corruption and broke some of these demon orbs. I want to do this so we can get the meteorite to spawn in, as that is a very good armor set when fighting pre-hard mode bosses. I went and explored the surface of Skeletron's dungeon in hopes of finding something good. We got some water candles, and then I came back to spawn. I put all of my important gold coins in a chest, and I decided to save up as much money as possible for boss fights. Very soon after, a goblin army managed to spawn in, and we died so many times. Look at the bottom left of the screen. Yeah, this was very not fun. I spent an atrocious amount of time defeating the goblins, and once they were all defeated, made my way over to try and find the meteor. While on the left side of the world, somehow, for some strange reason, the King Slime decided to spawn, and honestly, using the musket, it wasn't too bad. We ended up taking him out. Keep in mind, we had no armor at this point, and I really thought I was gonna die because we were taking damage like crazy, and we have no health regen whatsoever because we can't just magically gain coins. But yeah, I did take him out, and I was extremely grateful for that because now we could check off one boss from the boss checklist. Well, the meteorite was on the left side of the world, so instead I went over to the right, and I ended up finding it. I got myself as much meteorite as I could using bombs, and then I crafted myself a full set of meteorite armor and the space gun. With these weapons, I was much more confident in taking on some of the bosses, so I built myself a small arena, got myself more coins in my inventory, and decided to challenge the Eye of Cthulhu. Of course, we killed it without any trouble whatsoever, and without losing almost any health either. And so once I did this, I decided to go down my elevator, put a pressure plate on this bomb summon, and get myself as many bombs as I could because I did not want to waste any money buying bombs from the demolitionist. I am going to be very careful with buying anything throughout this entire playthrough because money literally equals to the amount of health we have. So we do not want to spend any pennies on unnecessary items. Anyways, once I had enough bombs, I built myself an arena in the corruption, summoned in the Eater of Worlds, and took him out fairly easily. I got myself a nightmare pickaxe and then went to go farm out obsidian as well as hellstone. I got myself a hellstone forge, I crafted myself some hellstone bars, and got myself the fiery greatsword. I went back down to the underworld, this time with obsidian skin potions, and got myself even more hellstone. When I came back to spawn, I was able to craft myself full molten armor and a molten pickaxe, and after this, I went over to Skeletron's dungeon, built myself a tiny arena, and fought Skeletron. I primarily tried to take out the hands because I didn't want to lose any extra money, and once his hands were out, I took out his skull, and now we could safely enter his dungeon. I was really praying to get the Muramasa as fast as possible because I do not want to lose any coins in the process of trying to get the sword, and I actually managed to get it very quickly. I went back to put all my coins into my reserve and realized that I amassed over 50 golden coins by this point. That is going to be a lot of HP HP that we're gonna have when we go to fight the Wall of Flesh. I spent this time trying to craft myself the Knight's Edge, and what I needed next was the Light's Bane and the Blade of Grass. I defeated the Eater of Worlds in order to get the Light's Bane because I previously had sold all of my Demonite, and then I went into the jungle in order to farm out Stingers as well as Jungle Spores so I can craft my Blade of Grass and then craft the Knight's Edge. Well, that's exactly what I did, and then after combining all 4 swords, I got myself the Knight's Edge. I went over to the jungle to defeat the Queen Bee in search of bee nades because I wanted to actually prepare for the Wall of Flesh this time, and once we defeated the Queen Bee and got ourselves more bee nades, I came back to spawn and had the mind-blowing idea of making myself a money farm. What my main goal was is to get jellyfish statues as well as the granite golem statues in order to make myself an AFK mob farm that would drop us jellyfish necklaces and night vision helmets that we could sell for an insane profit. Well, after a couple hours of grinding, I set up the farm, turned it on, and just waited there to receive all of my free money. Once we had over 500 HP, I went down to the underworld, chucked the guide voodoo doll into the lava, threw a bunch of bee nades at it, and then absolutely spammed it with my molten fury to take it out extremely easily. This boss is so easy as long as you're prepared. It was actually crazy to see how fast we could take it out. We are now in hard mode, and the amount of money we're gonna lose is going to very quickly and rapidly multiply. The first thing I did was, of course, put all my golden coins away and then bless all of my world with the hard mode ores. I blessed it with palladium, orichalcum, and titanium. I got myself enough palladium to craft myself a palladium pickaxe. Then after this, I went to go mine out orichalcum to get myself an anvil and a pickaxe. And then with an orichalcum pickaxe, I got myself full titanium armor, a titanium sword, a titanium repeater, and then using the LuiAFK battler buffs, I went to go farm out wyverns to get myself wings. Once I did that, I went down to the caverns in order to get myself souls of night and souls of light so we can craft the mechanical boss summons, and I also used this opportunity to get myself a bit more money so we can get a slight edge in HP. After this, I grinded out more money using my money automator thing that I had built, and then I crafted myself the summons for all 3 mechanical bosses. I grinded out more money so we can get more HP, and I also bought myself as many buff potions as I could because I did not want to risk anything whatsoever during these boss fights. And then once it turned to nighttime, I went over to my arena and summoned in the twins. I also managed to buy myself this one thing from the nurse, which you could only buy 1 of, and it essentially gave us an extra life, so when we die, we get back to 50 HP. Using cursed arrows, I started taking out Spasmatism first because he's the more annoying one, and once we took him out, we started damaging Retinazer. Once Retinazer was out, I picked up all the golden coins to replenish my health and started fighting Skeletron Prime. At this time, my buffs ran out and I became significantly weaker, and right before we actually killed Skeletron Prime, it turned to daytime and he one-shotted me, but since I had the extra life buff, it kind of glitched out, so then he just stood there in one spot spinning on me and I was completely scared. I was hopeless, I was confused, I didn't know what to do, but in the end I ended up dying. Throughout the boss fights, I had the AFK money farm going off the entire time, so as soon as I died, I went over there, picked up all of the items, and sold them for money. Oh, by the way, side note, if you don't subscribe to my YouTube channel, I will steal all of your money in real life. Come to your house. The thing is, you can't make an AFK money farm in real life, so you're not gonna get that back. That's right, so subscribe. I guess we're gonna have to wait for the next night to fight the other couple of bosses. I crafted myself a crossheart necklace, so yes, I do have immunity frames. That does save us a little bit more money. Once it turned nighttime again, I buffed and started taking on Skeletron Prime. I started with a decent amount of health this time, and we took out Skeletron Prime without any trouble whatsoever. And once we took out Skeletron Prime, I summoned in the Destroyer. Halfway through the boss fight, I was taking a decent amount of damage, and I actually thought I was going to die. Yeah, died to the Destroyer. That would have been a very sad moment to be Boio. Well, since I thought I was going to die, I came back to spawn, went to my money chest, picked up more money, and replenished all of my HP. With this, I was very confident in taking out the Destroyer, so we destroyed the Destroyer, and now the jungle grows restless, meaning we can start the hunt for Plantera. I went to the jungle, got myself a bunch of chlorophyte ore, and then I spent a load of time with LuiAFK battler buffs just sitting there in the jungle and trying to farm out turtle shells. My main goal was to get turtle armor before fighting Plantera, and I was really hoping to get myself the Yelts. It took me probably 30 minutes to acquire all of the turtle shells I needed, and once I had all the turtle shells, I came all the way back to spawn, got myself a Plantera detector, got myself full turtle armor, got myself a master yo-yo bag, and then went on the hunt for Plantera's bulb. Once I got to the jungle, I used the Plantera bulb finder, found the bulb, and then decided to dig out an arena for Plantera. I used sticky dynamite dynamite to blow a giant crater in the jungle that I ended up naming my so-called arena. I mean, this is better than nothing. What can you really do? I tried my best. Stop hating, guys. Come on. I then came back to spawn, and before fighting, I bought myself a ton of buffs, got myself all the coins, so we were fully geared up. I had 629 health, and upon coming to the jungle, I destroyed Plantera's bulb and took on the salad boss. We defeated her extremely quickly, and I mean, we barely took any damage. This boss was far easier than I thought. I kind of over-prepared, but after this, we could now enter Golem's temple, meaning that we're one step closer to killing the octopus man. I made my way through the temple, and once I reached the spawn place of Golem, I decided to teleport back home and use the AFK money farm to sell more items and get myself more money before fighting Golem, you know, just in case I die. Then after this, I decided to actually summon in a solar eclipse and get myself the Terra Blade. I did not get myself the Terra Blade this playthrough, but instead I managed to get myself arguably something better. This was the Eye of Cthulhu yo-yo. You might not think it's better, but with the Master Yo-Yo bag, this yo-yo becomes absolutely devastating. Anyways, we defeated a bunch of moth runs, still got absolutely no broken hero swords, so I decided to farm out more money using my AFK moneymaker, and then once I was ready, I went back to Golem's temple and spawned him in. We took Golem out once until I got myself a pick saw, I picked up his altar and brought it back to spawn. We fought him there a couple more times to get ourselves beetle husks so we can get full beetle armor and beetle wings, and then after this, using the possessed hatchet, I went over to Skeletron's dungeon and then fought lunatic cultist. I didn't really gear up too much before this boss fight, like I didn't even need that much HP. I kind of knew this boss was going to be easy, especially with the possessed hatchet, so we took him out fairly quickly, and then I proceeded to challenge the solar pillar. This on the other hand was absolute death. I didn't want to waste too many coins on it, so every single time I went to fight it, I just used my standard health that I spawned in with. And let me tell you, the standard health that I spawned in with was like 83. So every single time I would spend money to come here with my 83 health, die, come back over and over again until I actually defeated enough mobs to break the shield, and then I could finally take on the solar pillar. I went to defeat the Stardust pillar, got myself a Stardust dragon staff, defeated the Nebula pillar, and now we only have the Vortex pillar left. Before defeating the Vortex pillar, I wanted to grind out as many mobs as I could in my AFK money farm because I wanted to be 100% geared up for the Moonlord boss fight. I think I had a total of like 18 platinum coins, which would bring me over 2000 HP, and I split it up into 4 different sections so I would have 4 various lives just in case I ran out of the first one. Then I also bought myself an extra life from the nurse. I mean, I was way too over prepared, but I did not want to die, guys. Trust me, I did not want to die. Anyways, once I thought I was ready, I went over to the Vortex pillar, took it out, came back to spawn, made myself a little wooden hut from the lasers. I buffed up and went to fight the Moonlord. Before I could take out any of his eyeballs, I actually got demolished pretty quickly, and I had to go for a recharge of HP. I went to the chest, picked up 6 more platinum coins, and continued fighting him. We ended up taking out his left arm first, then we took out his right arm. We took out his eyeball next, and then his core was pretty easy to take out. I honestly thought I was gonna have to use more coins, but it wasn't too difficult. We were just kind of flying around up until we took out his core, and once we took out his core, the Moonlord was defeated. Be sure to check out another video like this on screen. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. Go follow my Instagram in the description down below. This has been Boio. Peace out.